Previously on...
Yo, nobody got time for that. Let's go. As much as I love to, sit here and watch this amazing view, I guess I'll move on. Yeah. Wish I had popcorn. Yeah. Anyway. We all decided that this time was too unstable to be alerted. And that if we try to change things just for our liking, and for that, or what we thought was the better of the world. Oh my god, it's hard for me to do Kyo-chan's voice. That we could end up doing more harm than good.
You don't know that for sure. We've done this song and dance before, and yet you've never had any proof. Here we are, back 300 years before we ever should have existed. Isn't that enough? Shouldn't time be in shambles now? Your theory are pathetic and inaccurate. You can't just keep us from pushing the limits. It's what Tenshi wanted. You know nothing of Tenshi!
Oi! In a fit of rage, Rose shoved Mitsuki back with great force, knocking her to the ground, then turned her blade quickly to Bunny, pointing at her face in a threatening manner. Her face was contorted with rage and bloodlust. I would love to see that! Yeah!
I stood by that man for 2 whole years, helping him design the time window, brick by brick. Kyo was there every minute to make sure that when we went through it, our heads wouldn't explode, and Tenshi only ever wanted to make this thing because he wanted to see if he could.
There was a pause. Then Bunny let out a scoff and a pitiful laugh.
So, you're telling me that Tenshi, one of the greatest scientific minds of our generations, was acting like a child? Trying to test out a new toy? That's worse than what I was calling him, my dear. At least, I regarded him as a scientist. Silence!
With that word, she brought down her blade, slashing at Bunny with a formidable swing of her mighty sword.
Wait!
Alright then. Bunny let out a gasping shock, but it quickly turned into a grin, looking Rose directly in the eyes. Alright then.
Oi!
Her clothes slowly disintegrated, and I made an effort to look as if I was averting my eyes. Brother, no!
One step at a time, my dear. Science will prevail. I promise you.
And with that, she vanished, leaving Kyo's whip to go limp without Bunny's leg within its grasp. They both looked over at Mitsuki, who eyed them cautiously, blade in hand. She slowly sheathed it, keeping her eyes dead on them as she did. You will find one day that the safe road is not always the correct route to take. When this finally occurs to you all, we will be waiting. She suddenly held up her hands and clasped them together before disappearing into the cloud of smoke. For a moment, all 3 of us stood there, staring off into the distance in silence. After a bit, Rose sheathed her blade, walking over to me and placing a hand on my shoulder.
I'm sorry you had to be here for this mess. Let's get you home.
Before your shirt burst again? I could tell Kyo wanted to diffuse the tension, and for me, it seemed to work, making me smirk and blush at her remark. Rose looked over at her friend, obviously aggravated.
It's not my fault that someone wanted to stop at the candy store on the way back from Belgium.
Oh, you admitted yourself that you wanted to get some chocolate there too.
I told you that the straps were getting uncomfortable.
Just as the argument began to heat up, a small hole of light appeared before us. The time window. Rose let out a dismissive sigh before stepping through. Kyo toe, I braced myself before walking through, letting the strange sensation take hold of me as I was dragged through time. Whoa! Hold on, am I gonna be okay? Whoa, what? It had been several hours since I went through the time window. Grandpa had immediately taken me into the experimental lab and looked over me until the effect of the time window had worn off for the other girls. Grandad! We walked in and began their observations. Yo, Grandad! It doesn't seem like anything out of the ordinary has occurred with him. You sure? Did you check my dick? My penis? My balls? My chest too? Nothing? From what I've been able to gather, he's just fine. Heart rate is normal, brain waves are still functioning at the correct wavelength, endocrine system hasn't fluctuated. Both his estrogen and testosterone levels are completely normal. It's as if he didn't go through the time window at all. Could it be that men aren't affected by the time window? It's a distinct possibility, but I don't have enough evidence to say either way. One trip doesn't justify everything after all. Well, just have to keep an eye on Kenji in the meantime. I'll be looking over the time window and making sure nothing like this ever happens again. Yo, I have a feeling that Michelle actually pushed me into the time window. Yeah, I think you're the one who did it. Yeah. Also, you sure my dick is not big? Or my balls? My chest? What? Got it. I'll stick here with Kenji and monitor his vitals. Vitals, I mean. I feel fine, Kyo. Honest. Yeah. I wish something was big. Yeah. That may be so, Kenji, but we just want to make sure everything is alright. This is new territory we're wandering through, and we just needed to ensure we're being safe. Yeah. I said nothing as Tensai looked over me. I could tell there was worry in his face, but also a look of complete confidence. Hey, Kyo. He ushered everyone but Kyo out of the room. Why? I mean, I'm cool with that, but why? Closing the door behind him. I laid there on a gurney for a while, several wires attached to various places on my chest too and head. Kyo just looked at the monitor intently. Kyo, I swear, I'm fine. Yeah. Kyo, is there something wrong? Is my penis? Why did you do it, Kenji? What? What? Why did you go through the time window? Her back was still facing me, looking at the monitors. I was confused. But that confusion swiftly turned to anger. What? You think I just voluntarily walked through the time window? Sure? Like it was some kind of a midnight stroll or something? Huh? Am I supposed to believe that it just pulled you through? As if it had a mind of its own? Hey, I know that sounds crazy, right? But yeah, it does, Kenji. This is a machine. A dangerous one at that. And I don't want to see anyone getting hurt. You could have seriously injured yourself when you went through the time window. Accident or not. Kyo-chan! She turned to me. She had tears in her eyes. Her face scrunched up in sadness and fear. Kyo-chan. When Michelle contacted Rose and I about you getting stuck through the time window, I thought she was sending us out to find a dead man. As she said those words, a cold silence hung in the air. She shook, tears beginning to stream down her face. Kyo, Kenji, you've only been a part of this team for less than a week, but it's my jammer.
Everyone's job to protect you. Your grandfather brought you here, knowing how dangerous this environment was, knowing what might happen. But he brought you here because he wanted you to forget about what happened.
To forget about my family burning to death? Is that it, Kyo? My words seems to be a punch to the face for her, as she had to collect herself before continuing.
I'm sorry, Kenji. I really am. I know whenever you're with me, I tend to make you remember instead of helping you forget. I really don't mean it to. It's just, I think of how horrible it must have been for something like that to happen.
She got closer to me, walking to the side of the gurney and taking my hand. I looked at her, my face going red.
Oh! For all the things that have happened to you, the incidents, the time window, all of this, you've been so incredibly strong. And me, I've been a complete mess. And I'm not even the one it happened to.
Kyo-chan.
And for that, I feel pathetic. I get too caught up with other people's problems and emotions. And look at me now. I'm a mess.
She let out a mix of laughter and a sob. Alright, I'm fine, but yeah. Squeezing my hand a bit, sniffing as she tried to collect herself.
I just hate feeling like this. Like I'm inferior somehow. I always feel like this, even before you were here. I feel inferior to Michelle because of how amazing she was at technology. Inferior to Rose because of her ability to design. And here I am, experimenting with rodents and making test chambers then.
I looked at her, squeezing her hands reassuringly before bringing my other hand to her face. This seems to calm her. Hey. Listen to me, Kyo. You're not inferior, okay? You need to focus on the things that you're good at, rather than the things you can't do. You know what I'm saying? Sure, you're not Michelle or Rose, but when you're through the time window and you have the whip in hand, you handle yourself so well. Yeah. The way you looked down those two, restraining bunnies the whole time, it was goddamn amazing view, you know what I'm saying? And look at what you're doing here. Look over all these vitals, yeah, making sure every single one of them isn't out of the ordinary.
That's true.
Come on, Kyo. I know you're stronger. Yeah, you're stronger than this. Start acting like it. These words, while they took her off guard for a moment, seemed to put her in the right direction. She puts a hand on her face and wiped away the tears. As she did, she began to remove the wires from my body, gingerly, with a smile.
Your vitals are no more, Kyo. Or Kenji. If you feel anything else abnormal with your body, within the next 48 hours, then please let me know. Okay?
I smiled and nodded. As I did, she pulled me towards her in the embrace, and I felt her chest juice squeezing against mine. I felt my face go hot as I was locked in the hug for what seems like minutes. Suddenly, she pushed herself away, clearing her throat nervously. Her face was a deep shade of red as well.
Right. You wanna, go hang out for a bit in an entertainment room?
Sure.
Alright, all set up. Ready to play me?
Sure, what are we playing?
Yeah.
Wait, are we talking about games? Or are we talking about